So to start making our game actually look like something real, we're going to add some walls at the top and the bottom for our eventual ball to bounce against the wall. So we're going to go into our art folder. We're going to grab this white sprite here, and then over in the hierarchy on the left, I'm going to rename this. So I'm just going to click on it and rename it to be wall top, because we're going to put this up on the very top up here. What we want is for this object to be actually in the exact center of our view. So on the x-axis here on our transform, I'm going to set the position to be 0, and we're going to click and drag it and move it up so it's just up the top up here. I'm just going to zoom in on this a little bit so we can see that it's an actual box. And then the next thing we want to do, this tiny little box, if we switch over to the game view, that's all we have up here. That's not going to make a very good wall, so we're going to make it stretched out to be the full width of our screen. So to do that, we're going to go back to our scene view. We're going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to switch over to our scale tool. We're going to click on the red axis, and we're going to click and drag that out and keep dragging it over to the right. You'll see if you hold the drag button down, our mouse goes off the screen to the right and wraps around over to the left to allow us to just keep dragging as we go. And we're going to drag that out so it's kind of almost to the edges, out like that. And then we can see, if we switch over to the game view, now we have this wall up the very top. I might actually just move this up a tiny bit more so it's a bit closer to the top. There, like that. We can see it's at 4.7, that's fine. The next thing we want to do is make this a real thing within our world, and by that I mean a thing that our other objects can physically interact with. At the moment, all that we've done is drag this little bit of art into the world and stretch it out. If we were to have other objects within the world that wanted to bounce against us, they wouldn't know anything about how to bounce against us, because all it is just a drawing within the world. So what we'll do is go to add component down here, and what we'll type into the search bar at the very top is we'll start typing box, because what we want is a box collider 2D. So I'm going to click on this here and it'll apply it to the object. And what that does, if we zoom into the object, it's a little bit hard to see because of our white object, so it might not come out on this video very well, but you should be able to see in your own Unity view there's a little tiny green box around the edges of our object. And because we scaled the object itself and made it as wide as it could possibly be, what happens is our box collider will fit to that exactly. So it'll always try to fit to the very edges of any kind of drawn object. So even if you have, say, a circle drawing popping into your game, if you apply a box collider to it, it'll still just apply a box to the very edges of that circle. So just as an example of the green box itself, I'm just going to grab this x-axis here. So if I click on the x here and drag it to the right, what that does is it drags the box out. So you can see now there's our little green box. It's been dragged out a little bit further. If I drag it some more, you can see it extend out. Obviously we don't want it to go any further than what our wall actually is, so I'm going to set this back to be 0.32, which was the default. So now we have this first wall set up. We want to do a similar thing for our bottom wall, but rather than having to go and drag in the sprite and make it all over again, what we can do, I didn't mean to move that, what we can do is hit Control and D when we're in the scene view and we have an object activated. If we hit Control and D, what that does over here, you can see that created a clone of the object. So now what I can do is just click and drag that down the bottom here, like that. So we had our first one was at 4.7 on the y-axis we saw up there. So this one is now going down at the bottom. So what we'll do is set it to be minus 4.7. So it'll be in the exact same position at the bottom. And over here in our hierarchy, we don't want that to be just called wall top, so we'll call that wall bottom. So nice and simple, we have our two walls set up just the way we want to. So now we can actually start using them within our world. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and make some more objects, which will be our paddles for our players and the ball that we want to bounce around within the world.